It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the South region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors South.
Recently, I have had a chance to be with some of the best professional crappie anglers anywhere in the United States. People like Lee Pitts in Alabama, Wally Marshall in Texas, Brad Chappell and his buddy Bo in Mississippi. These guys win a lot of money, travel around doing a lot of speaking, teaching people how to catch crappie. I've heard a lot of conversation recently about a technique for catching these crappie in the summertime that I've never done. It's called pulling cranks for a crappie. It involves long poles, rod holders, and trolling out over deep underwater ridges and humps and creek channels and catching big old slab crappie. Now, I had a chance to actually do this for the very first time yesterday. I came to this lake. Welcome into beautiful Wister Lake. It's located on the far eastern side of Oklahoma, and we'll show you a quick clip I shot yesterday at my very first ever attempt at pulling crankbaits for crappie. So on today's show, I thought I would get out and teach you a few of the basics that I've already learned about pulling crankbaits in summertime, this fantastic technique that I'm learning about. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports from our expert team of reporters to cover your local lakes, rivers, and bays. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right now, we're getting the Nitro Z8 out into Wister Lake in eastern Oklahoma. While we do that, we're taking you back to the FSN studios for your weekend planner.
The saloon tables are indicating mixed game fish activity for weekend fishing. Saturday's outlook is listed as excellent, with the best action taking place around dawn and again at 5:40 in the afternoon. Sunday is less promising, with poor conditions projected for the day. Expect sunrise to take place at 6:17, with sunset happening at 8:34. And night skies will feature a moon that is 44% visible. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing reports from around the southeast. And I'll return with professional angler Aaron Martins on this week's Ask the Pro feature to talk about catching bass in the heat of the day.
Well, as you can see, we've made it out onto Wister Lake in our Nitro Z8. I have it rigged up with rod holders today. This technique we're going to be showing you, pulling crankbaits, involves a rod holder and setting multiple rods out. Now, as you can see, I've already got a 14-foot long rod out on one side with a bait cast reel. I'll show you all that at the end in the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff. I've got a little shorter one. I've got a 10-foot rod just inside it. That way they don't interfere with each other. So I've got one out at 14, one in at 10. This side, you come over here and you see I've got another one out at 14. And then I'm gonna set this other 10-footer inside it. Now all I'm gonna do is take these little crankbaits, and I'll give you just a quick little look at that one, but that's the Strike King slab hammer, and it's spinning around, but that's a good crappie color. They make them in good crappie colors, and that's a pink one. So I'm gonna cast it out, and then I'm gonna let line come off the spool, and I like to run them about 30 yards to 40 yards behind the boat, something like that. So I'm gonna spool off line to where I think it's about 30 or 40 yards, click it in gear, put it in the rod holder. Now, I've got a good pattern. I'm covering the whole field of water. Actually, I'm covering almost 30 feet of water with 4 crankbaits pulling at equal distances all across an area. That way, if there are crappie in an area, chances are one of these crankbaits is going to go right in front of his face. We'll see what happens out here. Drifting downwind, I'll talk to you about location. I'll give you some more information about Lake Wister and a whole lot more about pulling cranks. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Luz, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing. By Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
There's a bite right there. All right, we got one. Hey everybody, welcome back. Fox Sports Outdoors today is on Wister Lake in far eastern Oklahoma, near the Arkansas border, and we're pulling cranks today. Oh, there's a bite right there too. I got 2 of them. Golly. All right, that one's gonna have to hold it right there. Let me see if I can get this one. Here we go. And I have a fish on the other line too. That's a big one. All right, looky here. There is a big crappie right there. Look at the size of that dude. See if I can just swing him in. All right. If you find fish, a lot of times you'll find more than one, and catching more than one is not uncommon. That's a Strike King slab hammer crankbait, and it just nailed 2 slabs right there. All right. How about that to get it started? All right. Into the live well they go right here. I'm drifting up in about 8 feet of water, and it falls off into about 25, something like that. Trying to stay up on that 8-10 foot ledge. Speed's critical. I want to show you here on my Lowrance HDS9. You see my speed is about a mile an hour. These baits will dive anywhere from 8 to about 12 feet deep. To get them that deep, you want to go 0.7 to 1.3, and I've got speed over ground, as you can see, set there on my HDS9, and I'm gently letting the wind carry me down as well. All right, we're off to a good start. Let's get you some fishing reports. Let's go to South and North Carolina. Here's Inglis Glover.
Hey folks, Captain E here with your Carolinas report. This week brought to you by Marshall's Marine. Located in Lake City in Georgetown, South Carolina, we're your bass boat leader since 1969. For all your nitro and bass tracker needs and for family-friendly fun, visit www.marshallsmarine.com. And I want to challenge you for the rest of the summer to take a kid fishing. Freshwater, saltwater, it doesn't matter. Take these kids and get them out there. Just like my friend behind me here who's fishing off the dock here at Murrells Inlet, you might end up enjoying it just as much or more than they do. Let's talk about the saltwater side of things right now. The inshore fisheries right now, you really want to get out there early. Get out there early or fish late in the afternoon when that water temperature and the surface temperature starts to cool off. You're going to have some great success. And remember, early morning, that trout bite is still good. The redfish are starting to school up. They're going to be on those oyster beds chasing these schools of mullet that are running into the creeks all through the Carolinas. Also, on the offshore and the nearshore side of things, we've got your Spanish mackerel that are really on the reefs right now, and we're hearing some 5 to 7 pound fish. Be sure to take some live mullet with you. Take a treble hook, a small piece of wire, and attach it to some fluorocarbon leader and get ready for some great action on light tackle. The offshore side of things, the billfish are the go-to species right now, but we're still hearing of some great catches of some dolphin with some bigger fish being caught this time of the year, as well as some blackfin and some wahoo being caught. And the freshwater side of things, I'm going to concentrate in South Carolina here, where the Edisto River and the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources has restocked an unbelievable red breast fishery. Right now, I'm starting to hear from people, including my uncle, Randy Glover, who fishes a lot down there and has over the last 20 to 30 years, that the fish have made a real big comeback. They're targeting them right now with MEP spinners and beetle spins, and be sure to fish right up under those bushes and fish all the way to the bank and back to the boat. Now remember, there's a lot of snakes hanging from those trees, so be careful down there, but the fish are there. Randy's reporting some great catches of 40 to 50 fish a day out there. This has been your Carolinas report, brought to you by Marshall's Marine. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
Little correction right there. Hey, welcome back everybody. You're on Fox Sports Outdoors. We're cruising along today and catching a lot of crappie already. We're getting bit a lot. And let's talk a little bit about where you want to fish. You want to be fishing out in fairly open water, not around a bunch of brush and cover, because you'll stay snagged constantly. You want to be along a main ledge where it drops off from say 10 or 12 feet of water into a creek or a river channel. You want to be an underwater hump, an underwater ridge, a long point. Is that a fish? I don't know. Yeah, that's a fish. So main lake stuff is what you want to be concentrating on to find these crappie. They'll suspend sometimes out over really deep water. They'll suspend out over a river channel or really just out over open water, eating little threadfin shad. You got to be kind of easy with them when they're that far behind the boat. Again, 30, 40 yards back there, and they are plenty tired. All right, 14 feet worth of fishing rod right there. And I'll explain why in just a little bit. There we go, just another good one for the live well. In he goes, working on a good mess in there. I'll tell you, this is so much fun. First time I've done this, and there's a lot to it. It's a lot about location, location, location. Find the right ledge, find the right hump, the right ridge, and then you can mark it with a waypoint on your electronics or throw a marker buoy out. You can just keep going around and around it in a circle. Once you find the depth, you can catch crappie after crappie after crappie. They're never alone, and you can catch a whole live well full of them on this technique. Hey, let's get you some more fishing reports. Let's go to Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Saltwater, Bob McNally, followed by your freshwater report in those same states with Jimmy Jacobs.
This part of the program is brought to you by the state of Mississippi, where the angling action is year-round and the inshore fishing is great and the offshore fishing is world-class too. So plan your next fishing trip to Mississippi, the true South. Great offshore fishing has kicked into gear, especially off Mississippi, where they're really wearing out the triple tail. Most of these triple tail are going 5 to 8, 6, 7 pounds. They're not, the really big ones aren't really in yet. And they're catching most of those fish around channel markers and buoys. And the fish are not always visible when you come up to those buoys. You've got to cast a live shrimp or a voodoo shrimp with a popping cork, work those buoys, and sometimes it'll draw them up. Captain Sonny Schindler up in Bay St. Louis recently led a young angler, 9-year-old angler, Sidney Geis, to a 17.24 pound triple tail. That's a monster triple tail and could be a new IGFA Pee-wee record. Sonny also tells me that the trout fishing has been very good during moving water around oyster bars. These trout are going 2 to 4 pounds. But the same thing is true over in Alabama. They're fishing in the lower Mobile Bay area early in the morning with topwater plugs and jigs on the flats and around some of the oil rig shell basins. And as the sun gets up, run channel marker to channel marker and look for triple tail and also those free swimmers. Up in Georgia, Captain Brad Stewart in Savannah on Tybee Island says the king mackerel fishing has been outstanding around some of the nearshore wrecks and reefs. Some of these reefs are only 18 miles offshore around the J buoy and the CCA wreck. Brad, with the guide party the other day, they had 17 strikes on trolling live menhaden for kingfish, and they had kings to 42 pounds. He also says flounder fishing has been great inside in the lower Savannah River and also Wausau Sound. Trout fishing has been good on the beach, especially on little Tybee Island, and 2 to 4 feet of water for anglers using jigs and live shrimp. Well, that's it for the saltwater fishing report. And next time you go fishing, please take a youngster with you. Welcome to the freshwater fishing report for Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. This week's coverage is brought to you by the Old 96 District, South Carolina's real freshwater coast. Lakes Greenwood, Russell, and Thurman offer outdoor adventures and angling action. For fun family weekends or vacations, visit the historic Old 96 District. In North Mississippi, the largemouth bass action is heating up on Davis Lake. This 200-acre public pond is just south of Tupelo in the Tom Bigby National Forest. The U.S. Forest Service stocked the lake with bass back in 2000. It's also noted for having a stunted population of small crappie. Those crappie and the brim make up the forage base, and that forage base must be good. Tupelo angler Tom Foster caught the second biggest bass ever taken in Mississippi last year. That fish weighed 17.34 pounds. Bass in the 10-pound range are taken here regularly. The lures to be throwing are brim-colored crankbaits or chartreuse spinner baits. You want to fish those early and late in the day along the shoreline structure in shaded areas. For a different option, head to Alabama's Frank Jackson State Park Lake in the south part of Alabama. This 1,037-acre impoundment on Lightwood Knot Creek is just northwest of the town of Ogg. Now here you're going for numbers, and lunkers are rare on the lake, but the pond is full of bass up to about 4 pounds. You want to target the shoreline vegetation to catch those fish. In northeast Georgia, the walleye action is getting hot in the deeper sections of Seed Lake on the Tallulah River. You want to slow troll minnows or night crawlers along the river channel, and most of these fish weigh about 2 pounds, but 8 to 12 pounders also show up each summer. You want to target the lower end of the lake from Raven Beach down to the dam for the best action.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Welcome to the big leagues.
really keeping me at about the right speed. I'm at about 1.1 miles an hour right now. Pretty good. Pretty good wind. There's one right there. Hey, these crappie are biting out here. Welcome back, everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors today. Beautiful Wister Lake, eastern Oklahoma. This is my first ever trip, and boy, am I impressed with the average size of the crappie here in this lake. There we go. All right. These crappie are good ones now. There we go. How about that? Beautiful fish. I did stick a couple of these on scales earlier just to see what they weighed. And these are averaging from 1 pound 8 ounces to 1 pound 11 ounces. So we are keeping us a nice mess of them today in my Nitro live well. Let me talk to you just a second about Wister Lake. It's about 7,300 acres, and it is set in the heart of some of the prettiest country you can possibly imagine. Great places to camp and fish and take your family. It's just a fantastic spot. Now the water here is a little off color. It's kind of a stained color. It's not a real clear water lake. It's not a deep lake. The river channel here I'm finding is about 25 feet deep, but most of the rest of the lake is anywhere from 6 to 10 feet deep. So it's a fairly flat lake. I've driven the lake, and I will tell you, you need to be careful if you come here because the upper part of this lake has got a lot of standing timber in it, and some of it right below the surface. So you need to be real careful if you're out of the river channel. You need a good chart. If you're gonna fish here, stay in that river channel. If you're gonna run, keep from damaging your lower unit.
Hey gang, real quick before we talk fishing, let me remind you one more time of a really special event that's near and dear to me. August 9th, it's a Saturday, out of Paris Landing on Kentucky Lake. We're having a benefit event for a super guy and a really good fisherman, Jason Sane. Log on to Facebook, go to Friends of Jason Sane for more details and see if there's any way you can get involved. Now let's talk fishing. Look, it's Tennessee and Kentucky. It's the South, it's summertime, it is hot. The fishing boils down to one of two things. Either A, current, or B, you're fishing in the dark. You can catch some bass, you can catch some catfish, you can even still catch a few crappie in the daytime, but really coordinate your fishing trips around current generation schedules and fish on the river where current is. Outside of that, there's a really good white bass bite going on in Percy Priest right now around the Nashville area. Late and early are obviously the best times, and just get out on the main lake and ride around till you see them breaking, and they're super easy to catch. A lot of fun, a great time to take a kid. The striper bite still holding out pretty strong on Lake Cumberland around the dam. Once again, it's a real early thing and it's over fast. Catch bait, get there and get them before they quit biting. Guys, aside from that, it's night fishing. It's all about getting out here when it's cool. It's about avoiding all the recreational traffic, and it's gonna be that way for a little while. It will cool down and the fishing will heat back up. If you're willing to brave the daytime temperatures, you can still catch some fish, but my advice, if you come here right now, go at night. Look, be careful, God bless, we'll see you on the water.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Mercury Marine, celebrating 75 years of marine excellence. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment. This week's question is from Casey, who asks, how do you catch bass in the heat of the day in the middle of summer? We asked Bassmaster Elite Angler Aaron Martins for the answer.
Well, it's really tough. I mean, obviously, if you've watched, I've been caught on Sundays a lot, and Sundays are usually a tougher day after we beat on it for a whole week. So that's the 7th day of fishing pressure. And a lot of times I just go to a drop shot. You know, some lakes a drop shot doesn't work as well, and I always go either shaky head or drop shot. For my really tough, when it's really hard, and I usually keep them both, but usually one will outfish the other one. So it's either going to be a drop shot or a shaky head, depending what lake you're at.
Thank you, Aaron. If you have a question for one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's see which viewer wins the Costa Catch of the Week.
Time right now for the Costa Catch of the Week winner. Someone wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses. This week's winner is Casey Sones of Long Beach, Mississippi, showing a 33-inch redfish he caught at Cat Island, Mississippi. If you would like to have a chance to win a brand new pair of Costas, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, follow the instructions, and you could be our next winner. If you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, go back to the front page of the website and click on the Costa logo. You can see all of their styles there, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's episode called Switchfoot. Next up, it's time for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, the right gear to catch big slab crappie like we caught on this week's episode. These 4 crappie in my hand weigh anywhere from 1 pound 11 ounces to 2 pounds and 2 ounces. And by the way, my cameraman and I were both fishing today, so we are well within our legal limits. I've got 30 of them in this basket that we caught the technique that you saw us using today. Now, in order to do that, you'll need big, long rods. This is the Lew's Wally Marshall Troll Tech rod. They come in lengths all the way out to 14 feet, and this is a 14-footer. Look at all this rod, and you need that much length in order to get those crankbaits out to the sides of your boat, cover more water. You need several of these rods in varying lengths. Now, as far as the crankbaits are concerned, these are the Strike King slab hammer crankbaits, and they come in several different depth ranges, ranging anywhere from 3 feet deep all the way down to 10 feet plus. Check those out at the Strike King website. Again, you can see that by clicking the Strike King logo on the front page of our website. You know, some of my fondest memories growing up are some of the stories that my granddad, my grandma, my dad, my mom told me, all kinds of stories about when they were kids and what life was like before I was born. You know, one of the greatest tragedies that we've encountered in our era is the loss of storytelling. Just a chance to sit down and tell kids what life was like before they were ever around. Today's electronic age, our kids are so preoccupied with whatever electronic gadget they happen to be holding that we just don't have time for that type of thing anymore. But I challenge you and me both to make time to sit our kids and our grandkids down and tell them stories, because one of these days, those will be the memories that they too will cherish. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip today to beautiful Wister Lake in far eastern Oklahoma, not far from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And as you saw, this is a great crappie lake, and this trolling technique with crankbaits works very well, not only here, but in any lake that's got crappie around you. Go get yourself some of this gear, give it a try, and I think you too could catch some big old slab crappie like we caught on this week's episode. Hey, don't forget to join us next week. We'll be on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock with a repeat airing Sunday morning at 8. That time ever changes. You'll be the first to know on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. And by the way, don't forget all the latest fishing news, video, photos, and information will be posted on our Twitter feed. You can look us up, the Twitter address you see on your screen. We're switching to Twitter, folks. So even if you're not a member, go get yourself a free account so that you can follow us and all the latest fishing news on our Twitter feed. But at the present, we are still on Facebook, and you can see us at the address you see on your screen. From Wister Lake in eastern Oklahoma, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.